Hey, what's up, Commander? So it seems like Josh Harrison, the group has done a lot of signings this past couple months. So I want to go over the key signings that we had from these coordinators and assistant coaches and stuff like that. So here I have like a summary of like who we picked up. So of course, I already made a video about Dan Quinn, Cliff, and Joe Witt. I didn't make a video about Larry Izzo. So quick facts about Larry Izzo is that he's from Ashbourne, Virginia, so he's a local guy, and also that he played linebacker for about 14 seasons. In those 14 seasons, he played for the Jets, Dolphins, and New England. While he was in New England, he won 3 Super Bowls in the early 2000s. He finished with about 298 special team tackles, and he might become a Hall of Famer because of this record. Because right now, that's like the highest NFL record for most tackles in special teams. He's been a special team coordinators for the Giants, Texans, and most recently the Seahawks. The last 3 seasons, the Seahawks special teams ranked fifth in 2021, fourth in 2022, and eighth in 2023. Now, Larry Izzo is a great signing. I give this an A. I think he's a very good guy. He practices what he preaches. He's experienced. Again, he holds the NFL record for most tackles, and also he's been ranking top 10 in the last 3 years in special teams. I think this has been a good signing. I think this is a very good signing special teams. I know we had a lot of muff punts. Maybe he might help out with the field goals or just like getting a better kicker. But yeah, Joe Larry Izzo has been a great signing. I think this was a good one. And moving on, and by the way, this is the Commanders team and coaches roster. This is the official site and everything like that. But if you go down, you can kind of see all the assistant coaches, and this is kind of where it gets a little nitty gritty. So the next one, and I think a lot of people are talking about, is Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson, he played for the Eagles and everything like that. And a lot of people might think he's the scapegoat. I don't really have to go too far in depth with Brian Johnson because he's from the NFC. He's one of he's a guy we should be familiar with. And I know a lot of Eagle fans were kind of happy that he was gone and they want him to get fired. Now, let me like read you these stats about Brian Johnson. Last season, they were first and first down. At some point in the season, they were first and first downs, second and third down conversions, third in yards per game, and fourth in points per game. Right. And then after around week 8, when they beat us, they kind of fell off a cliff. And then, they keep on using the quote that he got fired from Philly after a stale regression with the offense. Now, he's with us. He's the pass game coordinator. And I think this is a good signing because it's not like he's our offensive coordinator. Like if he was the offensive coordinator, it would have been a little different. But he's an assistant head coach slash pass game coordinator. He's an assistant, and he does well developing quarterbacks. He's seen what he's done with Jalen Hurts. He was there for that Super Bowl run. And honestly, I think he just got a lot of blame. But this is a position that doesn't come with a lot of power. You know, but it's not a great signing, but I don't really hate it. I don't really hate having Brian Johnson, a guy from the NFC. We have a lot of Cowboy guys on our team. Why not bring somebody from the Eagles? Speaking of NFC East, I did want to talk about Bobby Johnson. Now, Bobby is he's from the he's from the Giants. This one, yeah. Let me show y'all something. Let me show you something. So like, look, where is it? I found this on X. Shout out like Alex McDermott. So this chart shows like basically the teams that allowed the most sacks in the year 2023. Of course, you see us, we allowed 65 sacks last season, tied with the Panthers. I didn't even notice this about the Giants. I just hear the fans like complain. And I see why, but last season they gave up 85 sacks. And the last 2 seasons they gave up about 134 sacks. So that's like a 67 sack average, But last season, it came mainly from last season. They had 85. I know the line was banged up, a lot of injuries. They're down to the third string. They had Tommy DeVito out there at one point, but we hired this guy. This is our offensive line coach. So we already have personnel issues with the offensive line, and we hired him. I have his resume right here. 2018, he was with the Colts. They were top 3. And the Colts, they had a very good season. That line was dominant, And then he went to the Bills, they ranked 21st. Then he went to other season of Bills, he was 10th. In the third season, they were 17th. And then he went to the Giants, right? They finished 30-30. So, like, if you look at the record, he was the offensive line he coached ranked 3rd, 21st, 10th, 17th, 30, 30. And now he's with us. Now, personally, I think this was a bad signing. I would say it could be worse, but I don't see it getting worse. Like this, we already have a line. We already have problems with the line. You hear the fan base say that, like, hey, like we need an offensive lineman and everything like that. But Bobby Johnson is probably like the one pickup where I'm just a little like, okay, that one I'm not really with that one. Again, like they had like a little poll here, 3,000 people voted. Most people, 37% people say it's a D. I personally give it a D as well. I voted a D on this survey here. More people voted it as a Rivera, basically an F. But this was probably our worst signing, in my opinion. But I did want to talk about Bobby Johnson. I don't think. I mean, we'll see. But let's just hope they make good moves for the offseason with this, with his cap space and these draft picks for the 2 in the second and 2 in the third, and we kind of like build it up. But the coaching with Bobby Johnson, I don't know. But and Cliff, we trust. We'll have to see. But I'm not a big fan of the Bobby Johnson. Like, I mean, honestly, out of all the personnel here, like, I think Bobby was probably the worst one. Everyone with a pitcher was here last season, so they brought back Tavita. Ryan Kerrigan is staying. I was happy about that. Shane is here, and also Bobby Ingram is staying. So we still have our receivers coach. I think that's cool. Apparently, the players really vouch for him, and they really like Bobby. It's nice to see that he's coming back for another season. Another signing that I'm personally excited about was Anthony Lynn. Now, we had a female coach. I her name. We had a female assistant. She was the running back coach. They got rid of her. I don't know. I forgot the sister's name, but they hired Anthony Lynn. Now, Anthony Lynn, he used to coach for the Chargers for 4 years. They went 34 and 33. They were 1-1 in the postseason. So he's around a 500 level guy. But again, this kind of like the Brian Johnson signing. And it's like this guy's an assistant coach. You know what I'm saying? He's not like he's a head coach again. I think he's bringing in a lot of experience in years. But the last 2 seasons, he was with the 49ers, and he got the coach Christian McCaffrey. And we know how dominant he was. And hopefully he can kind of have that rub off with Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson. I think Anthony Lynn was a solid signing. So we got Jason and but I think those are the main guys I want to go over. This I did see this article that talked about it. We talked about Tommy a little bit. He's our defensive back coach. Also with this, the defensive back coach for Tom here. I know a lot of people wanted Al Harris. A lot of people wanted Al Harris to be the defensive back coach. Ever since we hired Dan, we thought he'll bring Al Harris from the Cowboys as well. But the Cowboys made it clear that Al would not be accepting any interviews. So they didn't want to give him up. Understandable. So we got Tom. He coached for the Chargers the last 3 seasons. I talked about Bobby. I went slightly over Sheriff. But yeah, these are the guys. You know, these are just the big guys. I really like, again, I can't stress enough. I really like that Ryan Kerrigan survived the layoffs. Like, he's still here. He's an assistant linebacker coach, pass rush specialist. Like, hopefully that's good for the linebackers and the ends and everything like that. But I really like that Ryan Kerrigan got to stay, and so did what's his name? Ingram? Yeah, Bobby Ingram. I like that he got to stay too. So that's really it for the signing. Again, I try to wait because I didn't want to make a video about each of these guys one-on-one. Like, I'd rather just do it all at once. It seems like most of these guys, like 90% of the staff is here. I don't really see any more vacant positions unless they replace one of these guys are already here. But I know Tavita, the quarterback coach, he's staying. Ryan Kerrigan is staying. Bobby is staying. Shane, I mean, offensive quality control, like. But like, again, like, I just really want to talk about Brian Johnson, Bobby Johnson, and Larry Izzo, and also Anthony Lynn. I think those are the bigger signings, and a little bit of Tommy. I really don't have anything against Tommy. Again, he was with the Chargers and everything like that when I talked about it here. But yeah, I don't really care much for it because I believe in Dan and also Joe Witt. But the only signing that I just frown upon again is Bobby Johnson. Let me know who's your favorite pickup for this offseason. I'll let you know mine. As always, like, comment, subscribe. And the next videos we'll be covering is the draft. I think we're now going to start gearing towards the draft and focusing on